Welcome to the Driving Force Mastermind podcast, where we connect you with inspiring entrepreneurs and deconstruct the mindset, the habits, the tools that they use to build great businesses so that you can too. Hey Driving Force members, welcome back to part 2 of our special episode with Amanda Aschinger. In this episode, Amanda is going to share with us, 1, the importance of knowing why you are producing a video, who you're producing it for, and what you want them to do after they watch it. Number 2, how video can help you reduce complaints and shorten your sales cycle. And then number 3, how to shift video strategies and ultimately scale your business much larger by telling a better story. So now let's get to it. So what are, I'm sitting here myself thinking about our own business, Sam, that we have that, we could use this for, but, and I've got my own set of questions, but what are some of the biggest questions that your clients are asking you when they first get engaged with you?
So the primary concerns are, time, being able to pull someone from their team away to help set this up or manage it or write the script or whatever. That's always a big concern for people. Budget, of course, is a major concern for people. But one of the biggest things that we've heard from people is, well, you're not a whatever I am. How can you understand my business? And that's true. I am not a business coach. I am not a manufacturer. I am not a general contractor, an architect, or an engineer, or a financial advisor, or any of these things. But so we just answered that by talking about case studies, clients that we've worked with who are that, and we have a lot of testimonials, which is great. It's nice that our clients are willing to talk about us and to say nice things. I like that. They'd be willing to talk about us if they had bad things to say as well, I'm sure. But we haven't heard those. So, but what we know how to do is listen, right? So what we know how to do is to actually listen, and we can learn anything. If there's things about your industry that we don't know, we will research it, and we will ask you if we're accurate or not. We might send you something and say, hey, is this how the T to T joint actually looks in the garages that you guys work in? So we will ask those questions sometimes, and we'll send reference material that we find. If you have it, great. If you don't have the time to create it, that's fine. So we listen. We research, and really at the end of the day, we really do care. It has to be a story that makes us engaged as well, or it's, we're failing at our job. There's no reason for us to show up if we don't also find it interesting. So yeah, that I think is actually a bigger concern. It's been voiced to us sometimes, but I think that sometimes we hear other objections, but the real objection is, I don't see how they could possibly get it right. A fear of putting a fear of putting a story out that isn't right, I think is a big concern.
And
go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I wanted to touch upon something that you said earlier in the interview that's wildly important, that I want every business owner to understand what you said and what you did. Right, because you were in the beginning creating everything and then going out and saying, look what we've done. And you're saying that that model absolutely was not scalable or even sustainable in your business.
That's right. Yes.
By shifting strategies and asking them what they want, how they want it, and then giving it to them was the biggest difference in your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to make
That's
sure
right.
And not only that, but you went to your existing client, to your existing list. So instead of going out, and these are people you already work with, and most people will think, let me go out and get all these new people and get new leads in. You went to your existing list with a new strategy and were able to scale and make this thing a sustainable and growing business. So I want to make sure that didn't get overlooked. Because most times people get stuck and say, nope, this is the right way. They don't listen, and they just keep, hammering on that hamster wheel until it's over, until they lock the doors and close the lights, and they won't shift. So I want to make that point. You guys are smart enough to say, you know what, this strategy wasn't right. And you did exactly what you should have done, is ask the client what they want, how they want it, and then you gave it to them. And then you went to your existing list and people that you work with this new model and are able to grow. So I want to make sure that that wasn't missed. And this works in every business. It's not just, in this business. Smart move. I want to make sure that didn't get overlooked.
Yeah, thank you. And we're in a process right now because of so much self-generated, in-house video. And I'm not sure what else is happening as well, but it seems like people are a little reticent to invest in the higher end projects at this particular point in time. And I think that it is just that in-house stuff seems so easy. Seems like it should be easy. But because of that, we've seen this past year we've been a little slower. We aren't working as many projects at any given time. Projects are slower to close. So we're doing that again. We've been going back out and saying, we still want to work with you if you still find value in us. Let's talk about what you need now. How can we help you with what you need now? You want to generate. It's because you don't want to spend your entire video budget on 1 or 2 videos a year. Let's spread it out and create some more shorter projects as well. So we're going through that process right now, which is why we had decided to go ahead and invest in joining the Driving Force Mastermind as well, because we were looking at our business and thinking, okay, we work project to project. We have clients that we do multiple projects for, but it's, a project or 2 a year. So how can we, and we can't count on when they're going to start. So what do we do now to help address what's changing in the industry and how people are utilizing video more as an everyday tool instead of a when I build the new website tool. And that's a big part of why we decided it made sense to invest now, even though it's a slower year. It makes sense to invest in someone that can help us make this second shift, figure out how to do it now. Yeah.
It couldn't agree with you more. It's like getting your own board of directors. When you think of it, right? If you would hire your own board of directors, what that cost is, and for you, it's like getting a team of 10 board of directors working on your business. And Walter, I mean, how powerful was their hot seat and their meeting and their outcome, and they're already making these changes and implementing. That's going to, absolutely keep helping them grow and reach the level that they want to reach.
No, I can't. Obviously, yes. And you mentioned one of the reasons that customers object to what you guys do is as you being an outsider, somewhat not being in their industry. And I always think of that as a strength. Now, maybe I'm biased because I see that outside opinion, that outside perspective is so powerful so often. And the other reason I think it's really powerful is because especially when you're doing interviews and you're asking someone to communicate their message in their own way, is that they have a disadvantage because they have this, I don't want to call it a curse, but kind of it's a disadvantage of their own knowledge because they're speaking a different language. They have a whole different vocabulary than their clients do typically. They refer to things in a different way than their clients do. And so when you bring an outside perspective, you can ask questions to them and say, well, what does that mean? How does that actually affect your customers? What language would they use versus what language would you use? And so that outside perspective to me is an advantage, and that they should understand that is a true advantage to them to have someone without their knowledge to come in and ask these questions and guide them along in their interview.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I think that's really important. The goal if it's your clients who are going to be watching the video or your prospects who are going to be watching the video, then they really care about how does this apply to me. And that's exactly right. That's the perspective that we really try and help, especially very, very smart people in engineering and manufacturing and healthcare and technology and and all the different spaces that we work in. These people are extremely smart, and so you want to make sure that you're not speaking above the buyer, right? Because you want the buyer to feel smart and empowered to buy. And so and that is something that's important to, I think it does help to have somebody who's experienced in making that translation. You know, we often say that we speak engineer and we translate it into English because we work with a lot of engineers.
Right? Yeah.
But that's
not everybody can do that.
But that's a difference. That's the difference of conveying that message, because we speak our own lingo and language and we understand it. But as a customer, if they don't catch it within the first 10 seconds, they're just going to move on and say, this isn't for me, or I don't understand it.
That's right.
And you lose somebody. And we see many people, when they do it, make these same mistakes. And I think the key thing is what you do is, again, you know, asking them what they want, how do they want it delivered, and then giving it to them, but in a language that the customer can understand, not just the owner.
Yeah, we are a translation. At the end of the day, we translate your business into visual imagery. That's right, into motion picture. I love that term.
And not only that, but you were able to keep your passion, right? Because you went out there and we were kindred spirits. Yeah. We're both. I don't know if you're still a member, but I'm still a member of the Screen Actors Guild.
Yes.
So you were still able to take what you did and stay in the industry of sorts, but translate it to behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. Yeah. So you're still able to do what you're passionate about. And I think most business owners, even when they make a big shift, they still have something that they wanted to go out and do, still be a part of what their business is in some small way. Even if they make a big shift, there's still something in that one thing that they wanted to do, and they take it with them.
Yeah. Well, you know, from the perspective of 20 years later, this is much more what I'm suited for. I love writing and producing and directing, and I really love getting to learn other people's stories. And it's fun to create a project that has the restrictions of this business, this industry, these people, this product. It's really fun because that's when you get to be truly creative because you have so many restrictions. And it's a lot better to me than having any option in the world. I think it's fun.
No,
I don't know that. That's neat. Okay.
Well, you know, because if you have any option in the world, then okay, you know, a unicorn can ride in on a rainbow and deliver an ice cream to a little girl. You know, whatever. Anything happens.
Right.
But when you're telling the story of a 130-year-old insurance company, there's only so many options. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You have a minute to tell 130 years of history. Well, that's a totally different set of problems than if I have 2 hours to do whatever the heck I want. So, yeah, it's just really, and it's not true that you have 2 hours to do whatever the heck you want. If you're making that's not true either, right? You have to make decisions, and those decisions drive other decisions. But I really love the fact that there's givens that we have to work in, and then we make our decisions within those givens. And so it always gives us a different challenge.
But it still feeds that passion that you had when you moved out to California, and that's the cool factor of your business.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
You know, and I keep coming back to the big questions that your clients are asking you, and I in my own mind justifying some of the answers. And you know, I know we talked a little bit about this during the hot seat. I don't know that we got in depth with it too much, but when you mentioned budget and time for some of the big objections that your clients are coming up with whenever they're deciding on a project or deciding on a strategy, I guess. That's what this really is, a strategy. The number one keeps coming to my head so often. And in marketing, we talk about, you know, if you can relate your product or service that you're giving to them to give them one additional sale, then it seems like that would be a great place to start for the cost of this or for the investment they're making into this video. But you also mentioned, I thought was really powerful, was time. And so shortening the sales cycle when I'm, you know, I like the marketing and sales side of it. I know you do too, Sam, but when we talk about the sales cycle, being able to reduce that sales cycle by 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, in some cases, you know, can a 1-minute video reduce the sales cycle by 1 week, and can that result in one additional sales for you. And so when you assign that value of that one sale to that 1 minute video, now it starts to seem like, well, almost makes more sense to do this than to not in almost every case if you can make that direct correlation. And then even goes further than that is for, you mentioned retention, which I thought was amazing too. Well, if it can keep one great employee or get rid of one terrible employee faster, then that starts to become, that number is very big. I know that number is, a year's salary plus when you're having to replace a bad employee. And so that cost is significant. It probably even pales to the size of what it costs to get a decent strategy of videos put together. So, it just came to mind when you're talking about time and budget that the number one is so powerful because it can help in so many ways, not just the budget, but also the time and the savings that they're getting.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think it's really important to understand what's going to help, what the priority is, and what's going to help the business the most right now. Where are they going to see the fastest return on working with us and in producing video with us? That's exactly right. Because we want them to be able to measure.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm sure that's,
you measure that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's likely part of your initial interview set. I mean, that's likely what you're doing now. That's how you're customizing this process, is by doing that and getting to know what their biggest pains are and their quickest ROI on.
It prevents them from stepping over dollars to pick up pennies because the visualization is so powerful. And you're right, the time that you save on churn rate and then your message to media to your leads are that important. That'll separate you from your competition.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So, I mean, what do you tell someone that when they think that they can go by the camera or do it on their iPhone at their office, or that they can just, it's all about the equipment, I guess, and that's where they're focused. How do you shift their focus to where, well, great, anyone can have that, but what you really are missing are these things here? How does that shift occur for you guys?
We actually have had a fair number of clients who have done some video in-house, found that it's not effective. It takes their employees away from what they're supposed to be doing, and it ends up taking something that they think is going to take a couple weeks, ends up taking months or years to complete because it's outside of the scope of someone's typical capabilities of what they need to do every day in order to keep their running in their position, unless you have a dedicated video team, of course. But in most cases, that's not the case. And then they'll come to us and sit down and talk about those challenges of getting it done in-house and how it becomes so much more expensive because your person who's supposed to be writing proposals is spending days trying to learn the editing software, or the video quality is poor and you don't want to show it to anybody because your IT guy tried it, but he doesn't actually really know the camera, and it's, and so how long did it take him to figure out what he was doing, and then how does he feel when he delivers something that you don't want to show anybody, right? I mean, that's also an issue, I think, anyway. Or you throw a bunch of, you throw a bunch of videos up on YouTube of time-lapse builds. Well, those are cool, but why do I care? If I'm watching it, why do I care, right? So you could still do that, but wrap it around a story that tells me why I should care. And what do you want me to do now that I've watched it? That's another thing that I find is lacking often. So we just tell people that usually people won't call us in for a meeting if they're thinking we're going to do this in-house. Usually when they reach out, they've either tried it in-house or they're thinking about trying it in-house, but they're scared. And so, and what we really do is let them know that we would like to work with them as if we are in-house. We really want to get to know them. We want to understand what we're working with for budget. We want to understand what your goals are. We want to understand what kind of time, who's your best person to be our point person, and how engaged would they like to be, or how engaged do you want them to be or not. We have presidents we work with, and they sketch something out on a legal pad and they say, go do it, and we go do it and we send it back to them complete and they say, yeah, that's great, and they put it up, and that happens too. So, yes, we really want to understand, like, let's outline what's going to work best for you.
I think it goes back to also what Walter, right? I think it goes back to what Walter said about time. And you can map this out, because it will end up costing them a lot more money, taking somebody away from a position, doing everything, trying to get it done, not wanting to show it, not having even the proper equipment, because I think having things look nice and sound nice are vitally important to your business, because it shows your clients that you care. But then what does that time cost you to do all this stuff? And they end up probably paying more doing that than hiring you outright and doing it right from the first.
Yeah, I think if you put together the actual cost, I think it's probably a lot more. But then what does it cost you in terms of clients, right? A lot of our clients are selling, not all of them, but a lot of them, any given sale is worth at least 5 figures, and often more than that. And so what is it costing you in terms of, if someone watches 5 seconds of your video and drops off, are they going to be engaged with you? Probably not. Maybe. But, but if you send them something that they watch and are ready, then you're moving them through that, So I think that there's a cost, too, to going ahead and posting something that maybe isn't strategic. I wouldn't say it's maybe not great, but isn't strategic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're really becoming their in-house team, really, and I love the perspective you're taking. It's not, you're not coming up with a package and then approaching them. It's like you're stepping in and looking from the inside with them and saying, okay, here's what we want to do. Here's the budget we have to do it with. Don't waste I love it when you said they could be doing a proposal for a customer and probably earning hundreds of thousands of dollars versus trying to figure out how to run the software and wasting all that time. And so you step in, you're able to deflect all that cost for them, probably do it faster, do it much better job. But I love the fact that you're stepping as an insider and really becoming their own in-house production team on their behalf.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. We're excited about it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's really neat that the approach that you guys take, rather than saying, here's what you need, let's step in and say, okay, what do you need? What are your priorities? And then developing it from there. And I love the fact that you call it a strategy and not just a project. And that's really a neat approach, too. And I know that's a small word, but it's a huge shift in the way that you think about doing video for a company. So, you've been with us for, just a short period of time, Amanda. I know that you came with some expectations of what you wanted to get out of this, and we've had some fantastic conversations, and I love talking with Oleg, too. What a great character he is, and I love hearing his story, too. But so from when you started with us to now, what have you seen as far as some changes to you and to your business?
I think that the biggest change for us has been we thought we were creating a business, but we were creating jobs for ourselves. And it really wasn't until we were at the mastermind on the hot seat that we realized that we can create a business instead of having jobs. That's just a major shift for us. And the reason I say that is because we love writing, producing, directing. Oleg is a phenomenal editor, and he loves to edit and to really dive in and make all of those decisions. But we can only go so far doing that. And you take a project on, and you work on that project, and you work with that client, and you look around afterwards, and what's the next project, right? And that's a real challenge. And even though clients have been coming back to us, and there's word of mouth, and there's been a steady stream of projects, but it's always project. And I have to be honest, I didn't really see how was I ever going to have a sellable business? Was I ever going to have something that I could step away from and would still operate? But just sitting in the hot seat and listening to people talk about the scalability of this model, that we're building. We know fantastic talent. We already know and work with fantastic talent who can help us bring these strategies to life. We can still be that client advocate and get to know those clients and run these strategies and make sure that they are always effective, working with this great talent that we already know and work with. And but it's helped us to really, both of us, Oleg and I, to see how we can be on top of it, working with the client, making the translations, and then hiring top talent that helps, working with this top talent that we have to help deliver on it. And it's a completely, for us, it's really a completely different mindset. I know that we were hoping someday we'd build a business, but we hadn't gotten there yet. Yeah. And we didn't really know. I did not see a path. I will tell you that, honestly. I did not see a path to how it was ever. I was like, well, we're just going to sock away as much money as we can, and then when we walk, we're just going to close the doors and burn the thing down, Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic, but that's,
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Honestly what I thought.
It does,
okay, well, it's all us. But in actuality, it is so many duplicatable processes. There are so many talented technicians and artists out there. Like I say, we already work with many of them, and we've got a network that's very deep of extremely talented people who just need that strategy and that plan so that they can execute on it. So so it's exciting because we are united in the vision, which is great. It was very helpful to have both of us there. And we have a very clear path of how to do that. So I'm excited. We've just gotten started on building out the marketing and sales, and of course the video component of getting the strategy really off. Of course. Oh yes, we have 14 videos in the works right now because it takes more than one. Yeah. Well, a video strategy is not one video. One video is not a strategy. But 14 is the beginning of one. So we have 14 videos in the works right now, and we also have multiple clients who we're designing these packages for multiple clients right now as well. I actually tomorrow am signing on the first one. So it's very exciting. Yeah. So it's very exciting, and it feels really great. We've gotten great response from clients that we've talked to, and then going to our network, and saying and sometimes just asking opinion. What do you guys think? Getting some great feedback there. Getting some strategy partners in who want to build it in with strategies that they do, because they don't do the video side, but they do other delivery sides, social media and other things like that. So we're very excited.
Well,
yes, you guys are great. Yeah.
No, it really wasn't us. I mean, we brought you to the meeting, but you took upon yourself to just really run with it. And so it's exciting to see that spark come alive and the big transformation. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. I don't want to take up too much. I want to be respectful. I know we thought about an hour, and I don't want to go over. But I'd love to ask you one more question if we could before we go. And so now that you've been on the other side of this hot seat, you've been on the other side of this meeting. What would you tell someone that hasn't quite been there yet? What would you tell them if they're on the fence, they're thinking about this, and they haven't quite pulled the trigger to do it? What would you say to them?
So I actually referred somebody to Sam to talk to who has a social media business. And I know she spoke with you in May or June, or I'm not sure when she spoke with you. And then I spoke with her after, and she's like, I really liked him, and I don't know, I'm not really sure. I was planning on giving her a call. She's been on my list to call to say, hey, this was our experience. And what I'll say is that it's very difficult to get this kind of group together, and the value of the people in the room, it's more than, it's been more than worth it already, and I see great things for our business. But what I'll say is that if you do want to make this change, if you do want to get to get your business over that 7-figure mark and you're building and building and building, but you're not quite sure how you're going to do that push, and you want to do that push, I'd say that this is the time to do it. So, I mean, I've been planning to call her and tell her, give her my feedback on it. She was on the fence, so I'm going to give her my feedback and say, you know, if you honestly do want that, then this is what you should do.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'd love to have another member that we can help. And awesome. Sam, do you have anything else? I mean, I want to be respectful, Amanda. I'd love to talk to you for another hour, but I want to make sure you can get some stuff done. You've got 14 videos to go produce now.
Absolutely.
You know, they're all in the works. We're good. That's why I said.
Awesome.
People say, oh, you know, can you take on more? Yes, we can take on more. While we were at Mastermind, we had people reach out. We had 87 videos. People reach out about 87 videos while we were in Chicago for 3 days.
Oh,
so those are all, you know, I'm getting people to sign their contracts on those. But but I already have the plan of how we're going to do all of them. It's all set, talent set up, schedule set up. All I need is for them to cut the first check, and we're ready to go.
This is what this is all about. Not only, you know, recognizing, you know, and a lot of people do, right? They trade time for dollars, and they create jobs for themselves. And now you're well on your way to 7 figures. And I'm guessing, Walter, correct me if I'm wrong, within years, you could build an 8-figure business. I mean, this has that potential to get to 8 figures.
With the talent you guys have in-house, I don't think it'll take that long, especially on the path that you've has set yourself on. Most of what slows people down is the ability to create a message for themselves, and that's exactly what you do. So you're in a unique position with your business to be able to do this. And then on top of that, to be able to create the media to do that with. Most people don't know how to write an email, but you're creating these amazing videos. So I can certainly see that this happens a lot faster for you because of your own ability and your own talents.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, thank you guys. Thanks for the opportunity to be interviewed as well. I appreciate it.
Thank
nice
you so
nice
much.
to talk with you.
Yeah.